God of War Ragnarok had a similar thing with a black character where it's just like, yo, this is Vikings, this is Norse. Black people historically were not here.
Yes.
So one of the things people hate about Sweet Baby Inc. and diversity companies like this getting more power in gaming is these guys seem to be interfering in gaming, where they're changing scripts and storylines. And some people are going to argue like, no, that's not true. It's like, no, go to their website, you will see that
black person working in the studio, and then they'll be like, hey, what do you think about, we're trying to think of hobbies for this character. What do you think you should do? And instead of saying, the black guy's not going to go, oh, basketball, because, you know, he'd be like, oh, what about, you know, he plays the guitar because I play the guitar.
So I want to get you guys' take. Where do you stand on diversification in gaming? And I mean that in two folds. On the first fold is about getting more people of color, people of different sex, race, and all of that stuff into gaming. And then on the other front, and what I mean by gaming is like, you know, developers, voice actors, people in the background, people you don't see, even streamers, content creators, blah-dee-da. That's the first front. The second front is characters of minority characters, all of that stuff. Where do you guys stand on all of that? Because right now with the whole Sweet Baby Inc. deal, this is blowing out of proportion where everybody's arguing about right and wrong, where some people are like, leave politics out of gaming. I remember, you know, Pepper Ridge Farm. I remember when games used to be fun and different things like that. Or whatever farm. Where do you guys stand?
Okay, so in terms of character diversification, well, I mean diversification gaming based on like characters that you can create, I've always just said like, look, if it makes sense of the time of the game that it was set in, then cool. And what I mean by this is how there seemed to have been some controversy on Hogwarts Legacy when, based in the time that Hogwarts Legacy was set in, right, in terms of the time era, some people were arguing, saying, okay, most black people probably would not have been walking around, you know, that prominently on this, you know, here and there. So it wouldn't make sense that a whole
like
school...
it would be like it would be black people, but not to this number and scale.
Exactly, right? And then you could even see in the game, well, for those of you who have played it, sorry for spoilers, but there is mention of a whole entire, you know, witch and, you know, wizard school purely in Africa and mostly just having black students. So I guess that was maybe JK just trying to be like, okay, in case I, you know, interpret that. I don't think so either, but you know, still, it's very interesting.
I get what you're saying. The God of War Ragnarok had a similar thing with a black character where it's just like, yo, this is Vikings, this is Norse. Black people historically were not here.
Yes. So it's the same thing as like, okay, it's funny how we've read the books and we've seen the movies, but not once has this school of purely African witches and wizards has ever been mentioned. But okay, cool. You're trying to get with the diversity and, you know, quota of today. And that goes back to the second part of the question in terms of why I think diversity in gaming sometimes happens, even though it's not necessary, if I can say. Again, I say like even in Valhalla and everything, you can create like a black person type shit, or why people still argue to this day that you cannot create a person of race or of gender, of a different gender in Escape from Tarkov, for example. Because in those times, my dude, those people would not even have been allowed to even enter the country. Okay, and this, of course, I speak of people of color. In terms of gender, back in those days, women just didn't serve in the military, or like, you know, as hectic scavs or USEC or bear, you know, fucking military type shit. But that is why, like, it really just depends on the time. But for people who then go against that shit and just be like, yo, but it's 2022, the game's being released and that. Yeah, but don't forget the time era your game is set forward, bro. Come on. Like, it's like now you play the Witcher game. You understand why there's not many black people, you know, in that time era. Then you watch the Witcher series. Boom. Come on, bro. Like, it's odd. But anyways, that's my take.
And what about diversity hires, like having more minorities in development?
That is tough. That is tough because especially the country that we're in, that is very difficult to speak on. Possibly at risk of my own job, to be honest. But look, I'm going to be impartial and just be like, okay, it's no surprise that any country, to be honest, especially in South Africa, would do diversity hiring to meet a status quo. Right? In South Africa, we have the whole thing of triple BEE, which is the Black Business. I forget what the third B is. Maybe. Geez, the fact that I don't even know, but I mean, I just find it dumb in any ways. But okay, essentially for those people who do not know what this is, essentially the BEE, Black Economic Enterprises type shit, right? It's to say that you can get government funding if majority, I think it's 60%, I think that's the quota. If 60% of your company is black owned, you will get funding, like backed, you know, for your company, which is very much like bullshit in my eyes. I get, yes, we are South Africa, majority of us are black, right? And that most of our private sector is not being run by black people. And so the reason why they're called the private sector is because they don't get any government backing in terms of funds, right? So cool, whatever. Now you go into those private sectors, you're going to soon realize just in terms of the hiring that happens in those areas, you will obviously, you know, you'd be very much right and correct if you said that most of the people in the private sector who get hired for jobs are white. Yes. In the public sector, yes, they're going to want black people far more than they want white people. And it does suck because where it sucks the most is for those who are in the medical situation, those who are in the IT situation as well. You could be a white developer or a white, you know, medical student, really just trying your best. But if you get placed into a, you know, public sector like company, dude, you're going to suffer. So yeah, shit gets really tough in that sense. But when it comes to games as well and hiring in the studios, it goes back to the whole thing we once spoke about in terms of like Miles Morales and shit with the hairstyle that happens with, you know, black characters, why it's always repeated and always the same. It's because there's not enough diversity hiring in the flipping game developments, but it's dumb. But anyways, yeah.
I just also want to, okay, no, I'll bring it up when it's my turn. All right,
sure.
All right. Actually, let me bring it up now because I probably will forget it later. Because you mentioning this sparks my memory about this. So one of the things people hate about Sweet Baby Inc. and diversity companies like this getting more power in gaming is these guys seem to be interfering in gaming, where they're changing scripts and storylines. And some people are going to argue like, no, that's not true. It's like, no, go to their website, you will see that they themselves mention that they help with constructing storylines and things like that. And if you look at the end credits for some games like Suicide Squad, you'll see Sweet Baby Inc. Employees have been credited with writing. So one of the things people are annoyed about this is you are getting people who aren't even gamers trying to force diversity into games when they don't even understand anything about games. So it'll be kind of like, what comparison can I make? Yeah, I suppose it'll be kind of like going to NASA and being like, yo, you guys have too many white people here on the space program. We need more people of minority. And it's like, okay, but do you know where we can get people of minority who are interested in STEM and all of this stuff, who have the right background to join us and all of this? It's like, we don't know, but we want you to change this, this, and this. We don't have any expertise on space travel, but we expect you to do this, this, and this. And that's the problem with Sweet Baby Inc. that a lot of people are putting up. The people who are championing all of these changes in Sweet Baby Inc., how many of them are actually gamers? And I think that's a very interesting question. because getting these changes pushed by non-gamer people, I do believe is problematic. But yeah, Kojo.
To be honest, these topics, although they come across my timeline on Twitter, I try not to check Twitter. Not my timeline on Twitter, my search, what's it called? Trending. Although I see it trending all the time on Twitter, and once in a while, okay, not once in a while, all the time I see it on Reddit. Unfortunately, my Reddit home feed has been contaminated. I'm trying to clean it up. But it's not topics. Well, the one that I don't really think about often is the diversity hires. But I was gonna bring it up if somebody didn't bring it. Like, if you don't have diversity hires, you end up with Miles Morales having a trash ass hairline or a Killmonger hairstyle, and you're gonna have that copy and pasted everywhere.
But the thing with Miles Morales is, I suspect they did have diversity hires in that. And I don't know if that diversity hires just didn't have the voices to be able to speak up, or these people are trend chasing and they're like, nah, this style is the hot thing. He has to have this. Like, imagine if he doesn't have it. People are going to be like, oh, his hairstyle is lame. Like, nah, he has to have it.
Nah, they were wearing just the gimp suits, bro. They were just wearing the gimp suits. That's all they were hired to do, honestly, and voice. That's it. The decisions of designs and shit, I don't think they had like any 2 cents in that matter.
I wonder about that, because they are brought in for consultation.
Consultation on, can you play this character, yes or no? Done.
I wish it was that simple. It goes deeper than that,
I guess.
Yeah, Kojo, continue.
So yeah, when it comes to diversity hiring, yeah, I don't know, man. This is a tough one. As Tommy was, I don't know.
Hey, dog.
It's, yes, you should hire people your studio should be a little diverse, so your game can be not woke or not inclusivity just for inclusivity's sake, but your game can be different instead of just one tone format. Like it, and it doesn't even have to be, oh, I'm black, so I'm going to input something black. It's no, I'm come from a different background, so I'm going to, or I'm interested in this, so let me add this thing that I'm interested in. It doesn't have to do with anything of my race. It could be just something that I'm interested in, that I think, oh, this will really benefit in this game. You guys get what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's like, oh my god, you must like watermelon. No, I'm actually allergic. What? I'm sorry.
Bring up watermelon.
I had to, bro. It was that or fried chicken. I was gonna bring up either.
But yeah, for example, not for example, but yeah, you can have, like, let's say a black person working in a studio, and then they'll be like, hey, what do you think about, we're trying to think of hobbies for this character. What do you think you should do? And instead of saying, the black guy's not going to go, oh, basketball, because, he'd be like, oh, what about, he plays the guitar, because I play the guitar. Or, like, it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
dude, you tell people you play the guitar, they immediately be like, oh, like Jimi Hendrix. No, bitch. Like any other white guitarist. God damn it.
Okay, so in that front, what about diversity in the games? Like, never mind the people making the games. What about in the game? How far should that go?
You see, now that I have an example, and I'm not gonna. Okay, I don't know what the fuck that was.
Yeah, like, where the hell did that come from?
Just thinking about this example, I'm just gonna. I remember. So I don't know if you guys remember the debacle being Battlefield 5.
Battlefield 5.
By having the bold black lady on the front.
No, not that one. Well, it had a woman on the cover, I think, but that wasn't the issue. That wasn't the only issue. So what happened was, people were so hyped for Battlefield 5 because Battlefield 1 was such a hit. So people were like, Battlefield 5, oh, we're going to World War 2. Okay, cool. And then they played the reveal trailer and people were like, what the F am I watching? You had women who were fighting in World War II, like,
Oh,
you had one woman with
Yeah.
You had one woman with a prosthetic arm. You had another, like, it was just, the tone was just off. It wasn't like, it didn't feel like a World War II game, and people were like, what is this? And when the game came out, yeah, and I believe one of the executives said something along the lines of, if you don't want to buy the game, if you don't want to play the game, don't buy it. And someone else, I don't know if it was the same person, who said they didn't want to make a game where their daughter couldn't relate to the characters, something along those lines. But I bring this up, and you end up with a situation like, again, with Battlefield 5, where if you can customize for multiplayer, you can customize your characters like you can, with most games these days. But with the Axis powers, which is, your Germany, if I remember my history right,
imagine having a black person there.
That's exactly what they did.
Leading the Third Reich, bro. That's crazy.
That's exactly what they did. You could customize your character, and I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm not. You could customize your character on the German side. You could make them black or woman or Asian.
Bro, I would have been on the German side, created a black character, and have my username as Uncle Tom.
Dude, they said the same shit nowadays with the recent Disney Star Wars, where stormtroopers are female. You get female stormtroopers. Like, not even just Disney, like right now with the series. Dude, this was even at the very end with The Last Jedi, fucking episode 9, where remember those
Rise of
other
Skywalker.
black... Huh?
Rise of Skywalker.
Sorry, yes, the Rise of Skywalker, where Finn met those other discarded, like not discarded, but like, like deserter stormtroopers.
Yeah.
Majority, if not all of them, were black.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, okay, so black people will just desert storm. Cool. I love the message that's there. Whatever. Nah, it's cool. We're lazy. It's all right. it's fine. So yeah, that pissed me off. And who does she end up with? That other lady, fucking deserted stormtrooper, Lando. Ends up traveling with, like, of course, leave with the black person to go explore space. Let's forget about the entire resistance that is multi-diverse, but cool. Nah, it's fine. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, so basically, I just bring up Battlefield 5 as what not to do.
Yeah, agreed.
But yeah, like, again, I think Tommy said it. If it makes sense for your game, it makes sense for your game. I don't want to be like, look, I'm trying to think. I'm like, nowadays, it's not like I'm going to be like, oh, I want to play as a black character because I'll play a game. I'll play any game. I don't care who I play. I could play as a lizard. I don't give a damn. Skyrim, I was playing as a Khajiit, which is a cat. Like, bruh.
We're playing as a black cat, Kojo.
What I'm getting from this is we are all on the same page with regards to diversity in gaming. Is it necessary, and to what extent? And I think the problem with this is because we're all gamers here. First and foremost, we're gamers before we're anything else. So we're looking at the pure gaming perspective of things, of what is this taking away from my gaming experience by not being there?
Look, all I'm saying is if my character has an afro and someone shoots through my afro and it counts as a headshot and I'm dead, I'm going to be pissed. Because that shouldn't happen. By physics, that shouldn't be possible.
I don't think they would allow that.
What you'd be surprised. All those afro skins on Fortnite, Lucio's fucking hairstyle on Overwatch, my nigga. I'm just saying. But anyways.
Yeah, all right. So for me, where I stand in all of this, beginning with, I'll start with the easier one. Diversity within the games. I saw on Twitter a lot of people arguing like, man, games were diverse before, because I think it was IGN or Kotaku or one of these trashy ass media gaming outlets talking about how games in the past weren't diverse enough. And there was even a journalist who was talking about of the top 25 games, only 2 of them have a female protagonist. And then somebody was like, yeah, that either means, I think it was the developer or a journalist, but the person was like, yeah, that either means games with female protagonists aren't good enough, or you guys just need to do better. But it's not a reflection on the players. We are just the we're clearly sending you a message that these are the type of games we want and enjoy. But anyway, I'm diversing from that. What I wanted to say was, people are arguing, or journalists are arguing, that games are more diverse now. They lacked women, people of color, people with different sexual orientation, and all of that back in the day. And I'm like, to some degree, I agree. But there's a difference between gaming now and gaming then. Back then, I feel like the pandering was far less. Whereas right now, the pandering is far more. And an example I can give with regards to this is, let's look at Gears of War. When did that game come out? 2004 or something like that? The first Gears of War, I don't even know. 2004, 2005, maybe 2003, but it's somewhere circa 2004. You have a character like Cole, the Cole trait, who's a black character. And that's one of people's favorite characters in Gears of War. But he didn't feel like he was a diversity character. Or you had the females like Anya joining in at Gears of War 3. You didn't feel like it was a diversity thing. You felt like it was a natural thing to the world, a natural thing to the game. But then also, what I would like to add with that naturalness is, if you remove these characters like the Cole Train from Gears of War, you feel something is missing. Whereas in today's gaming, if you swap a character's color around, nothing has changed of the game experience. So it's like, their sexuality, their gender, their race isn't really adding anything to the game. So it does feel like a pandering sort of situation. Whereas back in the days of the old days, sure, there were not that many characters reflecting minorities, reflecting women, reflecting whatnot. But when they were there, they were iconic enough to stand out. And so with that said, my take on gaming, diversity within the game, is we should tone down the pandering. We should focus less on how many characters of color, how many female characters, how many gay characters, trans characters do we have, and focus more on what's the substance of this character, what are they about, and how do we reflect it. That is unapologetically them. As opposed to, hey guys, let's go through our checklist. Do we have a minority character? Yeah, there's an Asian. Okay, cool. Do we have a strong, empowered female character? Yeah, we do. Okay, cool. Like what Hollywood is currently doing. Let's stop that. We don't need that bleeding into gaming, and I'm seeing it bleeding into gaming. Sure, we do need these characters, but let's tone down how forcefully we're bringing them in, because that's just leaving a bad taste in everyone's mouth. Then, regarding diversity hire. So, on paper, the idea is good. Let me go with that. On paper, it sounds like a great idea of, no, we need more differences in the development of these things. But execution, how exactly do you pull it off that it's not denying other people, more qualified people, opportunities? It's not denying, or rather, let me say, it's not bringing in people just because they tick off a box. Like, that EA lady openly saying she doesn't hire white men. What the F is that? Like, if I was a white dude saying I don't hire black people or something like that, there will be people screaming for his head.
Yeah, agreed.
Yet this lady is free to make such statements and there's no ramifications to that, which is crazy. So with that, it's like, how do you make sure that there's diversity in hiring, but at the same time you are not diluting the quality? That you're not just bringing in Sweet Baby Inc. because they're going to strong arm you into freaking out on what the reception to your game is going to be. Because I feel extreme political left wokeism is ruining the entertainment industry, in the sense of, you've got a genuine idea, but the way people are executing it is completely wrong, where they're just ruining everything. Like, your concerns are valid, but how you're going about to realize your ideas is completely wrong. And I would argue that the best way to go about this is trial and error. Be trying different things, but then that's expensive. And these companies are here to make money. So are we going to get to a solution to this? I really don't know. And where does diversification in gaming stand? I'll give my summary 2 cents on this. In terms of within the games, I say tone it down. Within the company, I don't have an answer to that. But it is worth looking into. We do need more people. We should have more people. But how to execute it is the $1 million question. So that one, let's put on our best thinking cap and try to get to a good answer with that. But inside gaming, I don't think we're doing too much. Let's take a step or 2 back. That's where I conclude on the matter. Do you guys have any closing remarks?
Nah, I mean, I could go on, but it's just like, I think people like completely understand at this point, you know, what I'm trying to say, so to speak. But yeah, if y'all don't, just say in the comments and I'll explain further.
You can cuss him out at +27 99602.
Yeah, there you go.
Kojo?
Ready for real, Kojo?
No, I think I've said my piece.
Okay. Away. But thanks, Max.